we are in the Napa Valley, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about the history of wine. My name's Justin from Enjoy Napa Valley. And the first people to make wine here in the Napa Valley were the Native Americans. They took the Oregon grape and they crushed. No, that's not true. I'm totally pulling your leg. The first commercial winery here in the Napa Valley was Charles Krug. Yeah, that's actually not true, even though that's put all over the world and on their wine bottles. But we're going to start at the beginning. In Yountville, we're here in Yountville. We're right across the river from where George C. Yount's blockhouse was. George received the first Mexican land grant here in the Napa Valley. He made wine for himself and families and friends in his cellar. George C. Yount, first winemaker in the Napa Valley, but it wasn't on a commercial basis. Now the history gets a little bit twisty because if you look on the surface, the first winery, they say, is Charles Krug. That isn't true. The first winery in the Napa Valley was actually started by a man by the name of John Patchett. John Patchett was in business for about a year, and he hired a brilliant young winemaker, 20 years old from Prussia. This guy came in and he just took over the wine industry of the valley. He became the president of the Viticulture Society of America. He opened the first tasting room in California, and this man's name, Charles Krug. And that's how the history gets twisted. He actually started working for the first commercial winery with John Patchett. Saying he's the first commercial winemaker, that would be accurate, but to say Charles Krug was the first commercial winery is not. Now, wine's going good here in the Napa Valley. We have wine that's popular in San Francisco, New Orleans of all places, and even parts of Europe. We have two things that actually affected us here. The first thing that happens is a little bug infests all the vineyards, and it's known as phylloxera, just like in Europe, and it just devastates the vineyards here in the Napa Valley. But the second thing that happens is Prohibition. During Prohibition, unless you're serving wine for medicinal purposes, we can argue it's all medicinal, or for sacramental religious purposes, all those wineries are shut down. Some of them still produce grapes and grape juice, but wine they weren't able to do. However, there are a few, like Beringer here, actually allowed to still produce wine. Beringer did it for sacramental, for religious purposes, able to continue to operate during Prohibition when many other places were indeed shut down. We started growing prunes here in the Napa Valley. Prunes and pears, but mainly prunes. Sunsweet prunes, Sunsweet, big hub here in Napa. The prunes we chose because they ship really well by train and in general, and they could get to market. There's a couple wineries that actually start up and are going during this time after Prohibition, but nothing big's really going on. And Mondavi's already here, but then Robert comes in and he decides he's gonna revolutionize the wine industry here in the Napa Valley. He comes in a big way, invests all sorts of time and energy, gets some of the best talent he can to revitalize the wine industry here in the Napa Valley. We're at Stag's Leap Wine Cellars here in the Stag's Leap district. That is the mountain Stag's Leap right behind us, and the reason why this district and that mountain has its name is because hunters were chasing a stag, and the legend is that the stag jumped off the cliff, some say to its own death, some say it jumped rock to rock to escape the hunters. That's where the name comes from. But Stag's Leap Cellars is actually one of the wineries who won blind tasting against France's best wines in the Paris Judgment in 1976, which put Napa Valley on the map internationally for wine. First place against France's best wines, and that's how come we're internationally known for wine here in the Napa Valley. My name is Justin from Enjoy Napa Valley, and I'm known as a walking encyclopedia about Napa. So if you want to book a tour with us and pick my brain, we look forward to seeing you soon.